for somebody to say, I didn't do anything about it then, but 6 years later, I told my friends, 3 or 6 years later.
Yeah. And this is the thing that's scary. If you say to any red-blooded male, 13 years ago, you had sex with a woman consensually and she's now unhappy about how that sex happened. You can get, any man on earth can get screwed with that. If this person exists at all. And like you said, she refused to go to the police if she exists. And she's saying it was consensual. I think last night they aired it on Newsnight, and she literally, they said, why are you coming forward now? And I think this actor, the person literally said, because now he's rich and famous. They literally said those words. That's what they said. Oh, because now he's rich and famous, I think it's unfair. It's asinine. I don't understand genuinely how a man can protect himself in the Western world anymore. How can you even exist anymore? If this is what they're going to hit you with as soon as you get to a certain level of influence, there's no man on earth who's safe from this. I said this to my judges. I had a few male judges. I said, they could do this to you. They could do this to anyone. They can do it to you or me or any man watching this. Any man watching this. They can put in the BBC, 9 years ago you did something. They won't tell you her name. They won't give you any chance to defend yourself because you have no idea what they're fucking talking about. And they will print it on repeat until you lose your job and lose your bank and lose your social media. And then you're going to sit there bankrupt and depressed. And then they're just going to move on from you. And if you don't die, if you're like me, a cockroach who refuses to die, if you sit around and refuse to go away, they're going to make up a new one. It's crazy. And it's genuinely scary. And you're not safe from it anywhere anymore. I will say right now on this podcast, I encourage absolutely anybody who believes I've harmed them, male or female, to go to the police with evidence, and we'll go to court. Let's do it. I don't harm people. If I was harming people, I wouldn't be out here as open as I was. The biggest criminals and the biggest gangsters and the most heinous people on earth don't have social media. You know this. If I see a guy with an Instagram pretending he's a gangster, he's not a gangster. The real gangster hasn't got Instagram. But that's the reality of it. You think I'm going to become the most Googled man in the world if I've been running around hurting people? It's absolutely insane. And I think there has been a shift in the consciousness. I think, especially because of COVID and a few other things, people are starting to understand that all these people do is lie. I think people are starting to understand that. And the harder they try and hurt me with these lies, the less people believe it, which is scary for me. Like I said earlier, it's scary. They keep coming up with more garbage. The bullets keep bouncing off. So now they're sitting around going, we can't convince the world this person is a bad person. How do we get rid of him? That's the scary. And that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of a man who says what he means and means what he says because he can't be bought, because he's principled. He can't be bought. Even now, me, if they were to come to me with $100 million and say, we'll sponsor you with this company, it's $100 million, you just have to shut up, I'd say, no, I don't want your money. I don't want the money. I don't need money. There's nothing else to buy. I bought everything. I don't need it. My principle's worth more. So, and that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of principles, and it goes back to the original point. They're trying to remove all of our morality, all of our baseline understanding of things. History has always been that way. And now it's under conscious assault. I've never said this before. I've never even thought this before. This is a brand new thought for me. But I would like to think in times of old, in history, perhaps everybody was the same. Everybody was principled. Everybody had parameters, but they were different parameters. Perhaps they were competing ideas. But I think in the modern world, it's not so much competing parameters. It's just people who believe in things and people who don't believe in anything besides what they're fucking told. It changes every day. You have the empty brains, the slave minds, and the people who actually stand up for something. And the free thinkers. But the slave minds, you can't say, well, they believe in a different ideology, because they don't. They believe in what they're told to believe in on that particular day. It changes. They don't have any true core belief. They just repeat. I talk about the Matrix all the time, and people say, why did you choose that terminology? And I chose that terminology because it is perfectly accurate in describing exactly what is happening. The Matrix is a computer program which is designed to control your mind so that your body can be used to power the machines. That's exactly what happens when they make you watch the news, to control your minds. You continue to use your body to work some garbage job and suffer from inflation and power the machines. Machines being soulless people who are in charge of the world. But there's also a million other different ways you can compare the Matrix to the real world. In the Matrix, they say anybody can become an agent at any time. If their mind is not unplugged, they become an agent. If their mind is not freed, they turn into an agent. You can see that in real life. Mention COVID to an NPC. Mention Trump to an NPC. You can sit and have a perfectly cordial, normal conversation with somebody for an hour and be fine. And you can mention one of the particular subjects which they are programmed to hate by the Matrix itself, and they will turn into an agent in real time. And you will see them now start to genuinely, emotionally dislike you as a person. They were your friend for an hour.
Yeah.
Now they hate you. They will turn into an agent. COVID was perfect. I would sit with people and we'd all be friends until I mentioned that COVID's garbage. And they would, now they're an agent. What do you mean COVID's garbage? My friend's grandma was 99 and she got sick. Okay. Sorry, that doesn't change my view. And they change. And the Matrix is actually a perfect, absolute explanation of what's happening. And Morpheus says it, if your mind's not freed, you can be one of them. And that's what's happening. And this is why we don't have competing sets of parameters.